Welcome to the Entrepreneurship 12 course. My name is Shauna Harper, and this presentation is whether you're a student or perhaps you're a parent wanting to know a little bit more about the course. Hopefully this presentation will be able to give you some insight. If not, if you still have questions after this, definitely you can reach out to us at north@yalecanada.org. So I'm here to tell you that the course is going to be offered this year from September to January in the first semester. What we normally do when we present this in the class is we actually share a video from a previous student from Burns Lake that has taken this course and kind of some of the insights that she has shared about what she enjoyed about the course.
I'm really proud of how brave we were to be able to get up there and how much we learned, because I'm proud of how much I learned during that course and how much information I took in and just how amazing that we got that far in this. I never expected we get this far with this project. So I used to be really bad at public speaking. I used to be good because I was learning in that area, but then I stopped and I got really big stage fright. But after doing this, I have a bit more confidence about being on stage and using my talking skills to speak to people. And I also learned a lot more of how entrepreneurship works for me and how it could affect me a lot more. It's good to have a teacher that's not so serious sometimes and who you can feel connected to more better, because he gets how our young age, how much we like these things and these all that. So it's kind of nice to have a teacher to be able to connect with, to be able to speak with, who can understand us. And his excitement kind of got to me. I'm not sure about the others, but his excitement about doing this and going places, I felt excited to do so too because of him, because I used to be really scared about being on public. I would recommend it definitely because of how much it affected me, and it's a really great course because even if you're just in it for the fun, you get to learn something new about how our community and how things work around the area. So I would recommend this to try it out and at least give it a shot, because it would affect your life a lot and it would really work as a great learning thing. And even if you don't know anything about entrepreneurship, I did not know anything about this before, but I had a great time and I had a great group to work with, and so I really recommend them getting together because some personalities do work well together even if you don't see that sometimes.
So thanks to Mercedes for sharing some of her thoughts about the course. So Mercedes' group ended up out of Burns Lake, it was about a year ago, ended up winning not just the regional competition here, but then being able to go down to Vancouver to compete in the Venture Challenge, a provincial competition, and they ended up coming in second. So I believe that this course is isn't just for people interested in business. It really, I know the word entrepreneurship is in the title, entrepreneur, so most people think it's just about business, but it's really about developing a growth mindset. Some of the things that pretty much all the kids that have taken the course have said is that they have gained self-confidence, the ability to strengthen their problem-solving skills, and the ability to work in teams. And with the world changing so quickly, it really doesn't matter if you're a student that knows 100% sure what you want to be, or you're a student that has no clue. What this course is about is building skills that serve you no matter what your path is in the future. And what those graduates have said of the Yale Canada Entrepreneurship 12 program is that self-confidence from public speaking, sharing your ideas, building knowledge about how the world works, so understanding how business works, helps them to build that confidence. And oftentimes the knowledge that is built isn't just from sitting in a classroom learning the content. It's from the eyes of storytellers, both locally in your community, regionally from all over the north, and provincially as well. The problem-solving part that a lot of the students have mentioned, that there is learning how to critically look at your ideas. So learning how to train your brain to understand the process of problem solving. That's a really big skill that I think all students need to gain by the time they leave high school. And knowing how to, once you hit a dead end, how do you pivot? How do you change your mind or change direction? And that whole problem solving process is a part of what we teach in the Yale program. And then, of course, working in teams. And this is something that we often urge students to try to work in teams of people that they don't necessarily know very well. Mercedes and her group, I think some of the group members knew each other really well, but one of the things she had mentioned was that she didn't know the group really well. But a part of not knowing a group is that when you work with a group of people, you're able to learn how to work with people that could be different than you, that think differently than you, and learning how to collaborate, be open to ideas, but also share your point and your ideas with conviction. And so these are all things about working in teams that regardless of the position, and I've done this talk a few times now in the schools, I've had kids tell me they want to be a writer, an artist, a mill worker, a truck driver, a nurse. All of these professions here, regardless of what it is, you have to work in teams. Even the writer who thought that, any writers oftentimes think, well, I'm just writing on my own. But to be able to present your ideas, to work with publishers, to work with editors, you're learning to work in a team. And the other part that I do share often too is with problem solving. There's nobody I know, but definitely nobody, very few people in the world have no problems at all. And the ones that seem like they have no problems have just gotten better at problem solving. And then, of course, self-confidence. This is something that is a muscle. And so this is why we say it's really a growth mindset. It's how do you develop that muscle that helps you to gain that confidence. It's similar to athletes that work on training. The minute they stop training, they may be an athlete that used to be good at that sport, but it is a muscle. And so self-confidence, problem solving, working in teams, this really is that growth mindset that students that take the Entrepreneurship 12 course end up gaining. This course, again, is from September to January, and it is offered in the first semester. And so I'm showing you here that the course is broken up into 3 parts. There's the accelerator part, which is kind of 6 weeks, September to the middle of October. Then the ideation and validation part, which is part 2, and that is from the middle of October until the end of November. And then the challenge part, which is the last part, and that is really from December to the middle of January. I'm going to go here and just kind of give you the curriculum pieces so that you can see kind of what is in each of those 3 parts. So under the accelerator part, this is the part that you really end up learning from both the teacher who is teaching the content on business marketing, finance projections, customer discovery, the business model, things like that. But you're also learning from the stories of successful local leaders and guest speakers. And so in this 6 weeks, Yale Canada works with the teacher to bring in speakers locally from your community that many of them are, actually almost all of them are entrepreneurs, and if not, they're leaders within your community. And it's not just their success stories, but also their failure stories. And during this 6 weeks, you also learn about what's called design thinking. And so from this, you kind of get that base knowledge to understand about business. You also hear from stories from local entrepreneurs, their stories around business as well. So the second phase is called the ideation phase, and this is where everyone builds stronger problem-solving skills. And so in this section here, it's 6 weeks from kind of the middle of October all through November. Students kind of go through thinking of problems that they could solve in the world, and problems that maybe that are right even locally in their community. So Mercedes was a part of a group that the summer that they came back was after the forest fires that had happened in Burns Lake. And so one of the problems that it wasn't Mercedes, but another girl had tabled was that she had worried about her father who had to stay back while everyone else got evacuated to be able to put water on the roof of their house in order to make sure that the embers and the sparks from the fires didn't light their house on fire. And so by staying back, the family obviously worried about him. It also may or may not have been too safe for him to stay back. And so the girls had decided, is there a way that they can think of something that could wet the roof automatically through a mobile device. And the technology already existed. It was a mobile device, an app that was able to turn on your faucet for the water automatically from your mobile device. And so what they needed to do was create the contraption that would actually sit on the roof of the house and be connected to the water hose. And so they ended up kind of matching two technologies that existed, that somebody could create the contraption that would sit on their roof, and then the mobile device that obviously existed, or the mobile app that existed that would turn on their faucet, the water faucet, also existed as well. And so by matching those together, they developed a solution for the problem of wetting the roof during the forest fire season. And so in this section, this is the kind of work that the students end up doing. They start to throw many ideas together because some ideas, they do need to go through a process to say, hey, is this actually a good idea? Would customer even buy this? Is this a problem that needs to even be solved? Or is this something that already exists out there? And so they learn a solution-based thinking about kind of the process, and they get graded on not just whether their solution was successful, but actually on the process of how they're thinking. And from there, when they do reach a dead end, how do they now take a turn, whether in our entrepreneurial world, we call it a pivot. How do we turn it and pivot to maybe a new idea or make it into something else? We currently have a Vanderhoof team that is thinking of a solution for farming and agriculture. Some of these students have to throw hay bales onto to feed the cattle in the morning before they go to school, and a part of that process is cutting the plastic twine that goes around the hay bale. And they pull that off, and it's one extra step. And one of the students had decided, what if that hay bale strip that holds the bale of hay together was actually made of edible twine? And so together, they're now working on that business. So in this ideation phase, it really is about how do we get students more curious? How do we get them courageous to share their ideas? How do we get them to cooperate so that they are able to flesh out ideas to see if they're viable? And also be flexible, throw in ideas, that whole pivoting thing, that takes a mindset of flexibility. And so these are all important life skills that are a part of a growth mindset that we want students to develop from this course. Yes, it's about business. Yes, we use the vehicle of teaching about business, which they get to understand the bigger picture of the world and finance and all those things. But really, the skills that they do take away, and all the students that we've interviewed, like Mercedes, have talked about problem solving and self-confidence and working as a team as some of those skills. So the last phase is called the challenge. And this is together with their team, they enter a challenge and they take one of the ideas from phase 2 and they work on it as a team for 6 weeks and with a local mentor. So for example, that Vanderhoof team that I was telling you about, they're working locally with a mentor who is also a farmer. He's able to connect them to some of his contacts to say, hey, talk to these farmers as well. We know each other, and talk to them and share your idea and see and build some of that confidence talking to adults about an idea that you have. It's also the local entrepreneur who's the mentor also helps them to look at some of the blind spots that they may not have thought of. Sometimes students have really great ideas, but they don't necessarily see some of the blind spots that are in their path. And so working with a local mentor is a big part of our Yale Canada Entrepreneurship 12 program. So those of you that are parents who might be listening to this and are entrepreneurs as well, we both need you as speakers as well as mentors. So definitely be in touch with us on that. And this entering the challenge part of it, a part of their grade is to present regionally and compete against the other local teams that are also developing businesses as well. And through this process, most of our students that start this program, if not all of them, could never see themselves speaking. And so if you're one of the students currently watching this presentation and was like, I could never present, don't worry, these are the students that we usually start with, the ones that really wish they could present, the really ones that wish that they could talk in front of a group. And from this course, it isn't just throwing you into the ring and hoping that you can speak in front of the public. There's an entire module that we work on around self-confidence and positioning of your body and how to project your voice and how to calm your nerves and all of those things that people that are professional speakers all talk about, how they've developed that as a skill. It is definitely a skill that can be developed, and what a wonderful skill set to have so early on, before you even start your career out in the adult world. And so this is something that this entering the challenge part of it is really about gaining that self-confidence, obviously continue to learn to work as a team and continue to problem solve. You know, the local mentor will challenge you, will constantly say to you, well, what about this problem within this idea that you have? And so constantly still those three things that we talked about. From this challenge, students that compete regionally are also eligible to compete at the iCube Summit. And the iCube Summit is a regional competition where we bring in the recent students that have finished the Entrepreneurship 12 program, but also students that might be curious about the program for the next September. We bring them all together in a room. And up in UMBC, it's a 2-day event. And the students that are in this Entrepreneurship 12 course compete against each other, and they're all regional teams that are competing. And the winning team, each of the members of the winning team are eligible to win a $2,000 scholarship from UMBC. And so the bounty of that is quite high because we want our students to be motivated. We know that post-secondary is a very important part of continuing your learning, and UMBC also believes this and has partnered with us to be our flagship sponsor for the iCube Summit. And so when the students enter this challenge, it isn't about who has the top grades. It is about their idea and their presentation and things that they can work on to be able to gain a scholarship of $2,000 to go to UMBC. And so from this, I guess really the next steps, we look at our students, that if you are curious about this course, depending on when you're watching this video, every year, May of each year, we hold the iCube Summit. And so if you are interested in this course and it's before May, please sign up so that you can go to the iCube Summit, so that you can see kind of even a 2-day version of what the course is like. You listen to mentors, you go to workshops that are hands-on, similar to the Entrepreneurship 12 teachings. It's a mostly hands-on workshop style teaching. And you get to see some of the teams from the current year present their business idea. And like our teacher out of Burns Lake, Mr. Bridge says, not everyone has the strength to try, fail, and continue to learn and improve from their setbacks in life, but our students do because of the Yale Entrepreneurship 12. And this is something we truly believe happens with these students when they finish the course. Of course, some of the perks, I kind of went over them. The field trips, there will be a field trip sometime between September and October to Prince George as a regional Maker Day that we have. We also have the iCube Summit in May that happens. So even though the course is over, students that were in the course up until January are eligible to go. The team that wins, obviously, the iCube Summit will compete in Vancouver at the Venture Challenge. And then there's the chance to win the $2,000 scholarship. So those of you that are thinking of going to the iCube for the first time, there is also a $2,000 draw for a scholarship with UMBC. So that's open to all 200 students that do go to the event. And then the one thing I didn't mention was that there is, for students that complete this course and get a B+ or higher, they are eligible for an entrepreneurship first year credit at SFU. If you decide you love the Entrepreneurship 12 course and you want to continue your schooling to get an entrepreneurship degree, then you can. SFU does offer this, and so you are eligible to get a first year credit under your belt before you even start university. So those are some of the bonus perks, and really the next steps. Sign up for the iCube, like I was saying, there are limited seats. If you have missed that May date, still want to take the course, sign up for the Entrepreneurship 12 course. It is offered September of this year for your in your school, and so that means it's from September to January. And please let us know if there's any questions at all. You can email us at at yalecanada.org. Visit the website, yalecanada.org as well, if you have any questions.